So we have some advice to give. Good afternoon. So, oftentimes as a real estate agent, we're confronted with um, these these thoughts of like, how do we best help our clients? In this case, how would we best help a buyer that's going through some issues? And I guess half the agents would be like, "Who cares? Just whatever." And then people like myself sit there and think about it and try to help out. So I wanted to put together a scenario that I saw online, and I don't think it's fake. And I just wanted to kind of walk you through my thinking on it, and definitely what I would tell this person if they were my client. So let's get to it. So I just wanted to go over the facts that I could pick up. So uh, here we go. One, a fellow inherits a home after his father passes away about 7 years ago. Okay. He currently lives there with his fiance, and they've done work to the home, but he just can't seem to get over the trauma. Apparently, he saw his father. His father passed away in the home, and it just always kind of nags at him. The house needs work. He owes $135,000 on the house, and the house across the street sold for $280,000. His was appraised at $269,000 when he had it appraised when he took over the property. Now, that's a little bit odd because if it was 7 years ago, why did it take 7 years for him to get the property? And then if this number was 269 back then it's worth a lot more now. So we have to kind of be a little careful with that fact. And finally, the house has issues. The foundation issue is the biggest one. It has a crack in the basement and the wall has moved in about a quarter of an inch. But the rest of the issues are typical issues a seller worries about, but most of the time a buyer won't if the house is priced right. And his main question is should I list my home for sale now and be out from underneath it, or what should I do? And I mean, I think it's a real issue. So here's some of the thoughts that I had on it. Number one, to me, it seems like this is an obvious move. Why would you stay in a house for 7 years when you're haunted by a trauma? That doesn't make any sense to me. But I was wondering, and you let me know in the comments below, am I just biased because I'm a real estate agent? So to me, life is short. You got to try and be happy, try to do the right thing. And I know people get attached to homes, but you don't want to be attached to a home that's giving you like a negative vibe. That doesn't make any sense to me. That's not something that I would think that you should deal with. It's the same situation that I find when people are living in a part of town that where there may be a high rate of crime. Maybe they've been robbed. Maybe something's happened to their cars, and they just want out. Just move. I know that sounds strange, but there's no reason why you must anchor yourself to a place in the United States. I mean, the wealthy move all the time for jobs. Why wouldn't you? The only reason why is because you're stuck, and that doesn't make any sense. So I think it's obvious that you move just based on the fact that you don't like the situation. It's bringing back painful memories. My biggest concern, though, is this question: if you sell today in a hot market, where are you going? New buyers aren't likely to want to wait for you to go find a new home. And will you be able to buy something better than what you currently have? So, I mean, if you're sitting on a house that's worth, let's just say 265, 260, okay, are you going to go someplace else and find a house better? I mean, what's your situation? And if not for the trauma, does refinance make sense given the low rates and then getting that house in great shape? So I would say probably. So, if you can refinance the home, and then you fix all the cosmetic issues, and fix the basement issues, that would be a move if you liked the home. But because the trauma hasn't gone away in 7 years, I don't know that it's ever going to go away. So that's something that I was thinking about. I mean, we're not in a situation where fixing up the house makes a lot of sense. You don't need to fix the house up and put a bunch of money into it if you're just going to leave. You're probably not going to get that money out of it. So I don't see that as the best plan. But one thing I thought was interesting is, what does the fiance say? It seems like she would have an opinion. Maybe she likes a different part of town, maybe a different style of home. It seems like a good question to ask. I mean, currently, you know, she's living in the house with you. We don't even know if she wanted that. We don't. Maybe she doesn't have the means to move. But I think her opinion does matter uh, in this situation. There's talk about staying in the house 5 years and then moving. I don't see where that makes any sense if you've got this trauma. Um, let's there's talks about the home being dated and having foundation issues, and you can look at this a few different ways. One, you can look at getting the foundation repaired and then list the house. Two, you don't need to make any more repairs. You could sell it as is. Three, if you could continue to make cosmetic repairs and hope that a buyer doesn't care, which oddly enough happens a lot. I mean, if you paint the walls white or paint the walls gray and the trim white, you'd be shocked at how happy that makes people right now. I'm sure 20 years from now, we'll look back at the houses and wonder what everybody was thinking. It's kind of like that khaki from the mid 90s that I still see every once in a while. But a lot of these issues that you're seeing with the house are issues that you have with the house and not issues that others would particularly care about given in this market. So, buyers are just looking for anything right now. So I would not spend a whole lot of time like in the thing. It's like, it talks about how it's got a double sink, a double oven, double wall oven. Just, that's not a big deal. I mean, that's basically just a dated kitchen. So is it possible that you could get a pre-approval for a mortgage without selling your house first at a level where you could buy something you and your fiance would like? And the only way to know that is to go apply. The worst thing that happens is that you can't be pre-approved, but that makes your decision to sell moot. So, I mean, if you know you can't move into a different house, or if you know you can't move into a better home than the current home you have, it does affect the decision-making process. I personally like to work off of knowns. That is, when we have something that we don't know, can we find out the information so that we can make a better decision? In this case, we have a number of unknowns. And here's some of them. How much is it going to cost to fix up the house? How much is the house going to be that you want to buy? Can you get a pre-approval for a mortgage and to move somewhere that you want? And what will the housing market look like next month or next year? So some of these things we can get information for. We can get a contractor to estimate for repairs and updates. We can talk to an agent and go look at homes to see if they make any sense. You can apply for a mortgage to get a pre-approval. And we don't know what the market will do in the future, but we do have a pretty good idea of that we're still in a very strong market. So what I'm seeing right now is that there's not enough inventory, and there's very little supply that comes on the market. So the prices go up, but the pending sales are going down only because there aren't any houses to buy. The bottom line, though, is that you want to move because of trauma, and at that point, you probably should. The reason you want to move doesn't have as much to do with logic as it does emotion. Something that we tend to recognize as real estate agents, it really doesn't matter logically from this standpoint. You want to move because you have a strong emotional attachment or a desire to get away from this house, and in that sense, you should. My advice then is to look for a new home, assuming that you can get pre-approved for a mortgage. It's going to take you a while to find a house you like and actually get it under contract. Once you have a home under contract, put your current home up for sale as is. Should the market take a turn, then deal with it then. If you have to make improvements to get someone to buy the house, do those improvements then. And so I was wondering finally, what do you think? I mean, I'm biased as an agent. I think in this case, it seems pretty reasonable to just move if you can, and to take those steps to get more information, to make a better decision, and then do it. But maybe you think that I'm just trying to sell. Maybe I'm just trying to get a listing, or maybe I'm just trying to work with a buyer. It seems like it's sound advice, but I'd be curious to know what you think. So with that, I'm going to head on out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one.